to CBeebies Bedtime Stories.
Whacking them in the freezer.
Oh, good burning from you there, I love it.
I hope I'm glowing and not vomiting.
I mean, it is very much sort of blobby.
She weren't looking and it smacked her straight on the forehead.
Hello and welcome to Under the Lid, the pro cricket show with me, Jack Brooks.
And me, Katherine Sciver-Brunt. Well, do we have a show for you today? Since we've started this podcast, Jack, haven't we? We've been inundated with when is Nat coming on. So we listen and we have answered everybody's feedback. So just goes to show the power of the feedback, guys. And coming all the way from the room next door is my better half, Nat Sciver-Brunt.
Yeah, it's going to be a slightly different episode, isn't it? Obviously, we've got us two waffling on. But we've not only got your wife, but she's also officially the best women's player on the planet.
It's not bad, that, is it?
It's all right, isn't it?
Decent.
So we're going to be talking all things Sciver-Brunts. We've got some massive news, which you two can announce as well, which is going to be really interesting and exciting. And hopefully we'll all learn a little bit as well. Yeah, massive episode ahead.
Yes, and talking of massive / big news, Jimmy Anderson announcing that, it's all coming to end at Lord's. Very sad.
It is sad, isn't it? I genuinely will be gutted not to see him bowl again because he's an absolute goat and a magician. And I'm sure as a fellow retired seamer, you can feel what he may be going through for the next few weeks.
Yeah, it'll be on the same level as your retirement was.
slightly above mine. I don't know where it sits with yours, but England's best ever women's bowler retiring, and then the men's top two retiring as well. It's all coming at once. It's too difficult to handle. What have you been up to?
Well, what haven't I been up to?
It just seems to get. Box.
Did you? Did you see me at the telly? Well, basically, you're not going to get rid of me on the telly because I've signed up for a fair bit of commentary. I won't say who with because they don't sponsor us yet, but they might in the future. So I've had my first bit of commentary. That was fun. Got some nice feedback from yourself, Jack, which was really nice. So thank you for that.
No, you were good.
Yeah,
good.
I always like doing it. It's different, isn't it? And it's definitely nerve-wracking. This isn't as nerve-wracking because if we mess up, we can just, press stop and do it again. But
yeah, it gets cut out.
You can't do that on the telly.
Hours of footage that is cut out from this.
I know. I come on here and I say, and then I go on the TV and I've got to watch my mouth because my mum can lip read. So, yeah, it's hard, but I enjoy it. Who doesn't enjoy talking about cricket? So,
well, you'd know a lot about that. But also, do you reckon you got the gig off the back of this podcast?
I reckon, yeah. I reckon my ratings are going to go through the roof. On top of that, I've had a few business meetings because I've been just thinking outside the box as I did a couple of years ago when I was bored in lockdown and thinking, do I want to be in cricket? If not, then I need to do something about that. So kind of put that on hold because I thought I should probably finish the rest of my career off without much distraction because I'm like that and that will tell you all about it. So now I've decided to pick it up again and maybe go full pelt with that. So started that going, so that's cool. And then I had supermodel Isha Guha over, one of my busy mates from back in the day, and Lydia Greenway. So yeah, it was really nice to have them round after a day at commentary and at the game, have them round, catch up. And we also had Amy Jones round, Beth Langston and Piper Cleary. And we all had a lovely amount of champagne. I got it ready for the 100th cap. So that was a special day and she absolutely smashed it. So yeah, what have you been up to?
You've been busy. You've been super busy.
I have.
Yeah, I've been busy, but not as productive as you. Productive as in keeping my baby alive. That was basically my job last week.
Isn't that your job every minute of every day for the next 18 years?
Well, yeah, effectively, but I've been left alone with him for 5 days and nights non-stop.
My Christ.
My partner works abroad, so every now and then she nips away for a few days. This time it was the longest time away she's had, so it was tough for her to be away from our little man.
You'll have to tell us what she does or is it Topsy?
No, she works in aviation. I'll say that. So she's abroad a bit on that. But yeah, dad duty. It's hard and it's great. It's rewarding. It's good fun. I love my little boy. But Jesus, please sleep more. And also, he's just going through a bit of a regression at the minute where he just didn't want to go to sleep in the evenings, and it's hard. My
Very,
mum
very
came
hard.
over. She dropped some plants off for the garden because we got a newish house.
That was a mistake.
Coincided with a couple of the hottest days of the year where I didn't water them. So basically, these plants died within 24 hours.
Easily done.
I've been trying to organise some coaching sessions. I popped down on the weekend to watch my local team who I'm coaching and playing for, Banbury. They lost on Saturday. So that was a great start. Well done, boys. Cheers. I know a couple of them listen here as well. So big Dave Eaton, I'm blaming you. And then they managed to win a cup game on Sunday. So that was okay.
Surely you get the old dog wanger out as well.
So I'm
Surely.
wanging,
And the
I'm
mitt.
knitting, drinking coffee, loads of it. Anyway, so this podcast is brought to you, as always, in partnership with the PCA and the Cricketer, whose outstanding coverage of domestic cricket online has been recognised for 6 years in a row at the ECB Domestic Journalism Award. So, like we say every week, we're the amateurs. The guys running this ship in the background are the pros. And as always, please send us in any feedback or questions or abuse or anything funny, or if any of you have seen us out and about in your cricketing worlds, please hashtag Under the Lid or email hello@underthelid.co.uk. So,
Nice.
what do we know about our guest?
Well, it's actually a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, she's backstage listening to this because they have to. We put them through that. But we're going to get her on because she's probably getting a bit tired. She's had a long day training today, preparing for potentially her first game back for England. We'll see what she says. But she can't help me with the computer today, so I'm on my own with that. So it's all going smoothly. But she's also, as well as being great at the tech, she's not bad with the bat and ball, is she?
She's all right. Best player on the planet. Best women's player on the planet. Officially.
And there's obviously a lot about Nat that a lot of people don't know. And she's born in Japan, grew up through spells in the Netherlands and Poland, the daughter of an ambassador. I'm sure Jules would love that little announcement there. I'm pretty sure she has an MBE as well. Jules is, top dog. And, we're not just going to be chatting about her childhood, though. We're going to be chatting about everything, because that's what this podcast is. We're going under the lid.
Let's go real deep under the lid with the story of you two and talk about Nat, everything, what's going on in cricket and private life, if you want to go that deep with it. Should we get her in? Should we get under the lid?
Let's get her
in! Natalie Sciver-Brunt, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. What an introduction.
That introduction we gave you, do you ever get that when you come down for breakfast in the morning from Katherine at all, or not?
No, I'm making her coffee in the morning.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm not that good with the milk. Everybody knows the milk issue, getting the milk spot on, I'm doing patterns. It's a bit of a trauma, so.
It is very much sort of blobby these days.
Blobby?
She used to do a heart, but it's gone out the window.
But then the
Pair
whole
of
process
baristas,
takes
are you?
a bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Nat, how are you? And you've been St Andrews recently?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Got asked randomly to take part in a day to promote the Women's Open there. That's 100 days away yesterday, so 99 now. By playing around on the old course at St Andrews.
Fuming.
Your wife's chuffed with that?
Yeah, chuffed. I'll tell you what, Jack, she did bring me a towel back from the shop, though. A towel and a golf marker, so it can't all be bad.
You weren't that happy with them yesterday.
Well, because I've already got one and we don't like waste either, do we?
So what did you do? Did you outdrive a pro?
Yeah, a couple times. She was very, very good. And yeah, I managed to sneak maybe 10 yards on her a couple times. But yeah, and mine obviously weren't as consistent as hers.
So
Catherine's mentioned golf a few times on this. Obviously, she's keen, passionate. I take it you and is it as important to the women's cricketers or the England women cricketers as much as it is to the men?
It has become more important actually. I think since lockdown, obviously, that was a time where golf at one point was something that you could do, and there wasn't a lot else that you could do. So, yeah, quite a lot of the girls took it up. So there's maybe like 8 or 9 of us who like to take our clubs away on tour.
Nice.
So yeah, get around in when we can.
There's a couple of girls in there who literally never picked up a club before, and now it's one of the only things they do outside of the game. So,
Well, it's a nice escapism, isn't it? And you get to
Yeah.
play on a lot of nice courses as well when you're high flyer in the England team, don't you?
well, while I'm slaving away at home trying to get our house nice, you just take yourself off and have a great time. Don't worry about me.
What was Catherine's digger skills like, truthfully?
They were good. But I didn't like to watch it.
Why's that?
Yeah, well, when she went round by, every house has that white box with the electricity meter in. So she was like right underneath there, and so I had. I mean, I don't know if Catherine's told you, but in previous houses that we've renovated, we have run into a few issues, and one of them was um, we were trying our hand at plumbing, sort of like disconnecting the bath and sink and stuff. And we got to the final piece, which was the bath taps, and we
Had an explosion.
we didn't saw them off, but like used the little implement that takes them off because the taps were really old and we couldn't get them off, and the water just like sprayed up from both sides.
Just to give it context, next door, right next door, because we're in the middle of nowhere, is Severn Trent. So you can imagine the power of the water connection. It's pretty intense.
So we had to put pressure on both taps, but obviously one was hot. Obviously, it doesn't run hot at the start, but then it starts running hot. So we like Catherine's gone first, so I'm like, oh my god, like trying to get towels, like anything that will sort of help stem the flow. And then, so we like obviously the pressure of it all, obviously it was still seeping out, like trying to get buckets underneath.
I think we get the picture.
It's all coming out now, Catherine.
So yeah.
Anyway, it all ended well, and I've got a beautiful bathroom now, so you can thank me later.
Things do turn out well. Yeah. Luckily we had a local guy who'd done some work for us on another house, who knew where we were. So yeah, he was only 20 minutes away.
Oh, good burning from you there. Love it. Absolutely love it. But do you think that if now Catherine's got a burgeoning commentary career, she'll end up being able to burn you on comms, or do you think that'd be a step too far? Like, are you comfortable with Catherine going into a prominent media role whilst you're still playing?
She hasn't been enough yet for me to burn her, so
Best player on the planet.
yeah, I know.
I was commentating at the same time the other day, and they asked me into the pod at the game at Birmingham. So yeah, we were both doing it, a little double act. No, she's too nervous watching me anyway. So
Really?
I don't think she'd. But yeah, she's more likely to swear at the fact that I would get out than
Control the controllables, Catherine.
On 99. Anyway.
Catherine, touch wood at least.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, I know that you two have done bedtime stories on CBeebies before. Do you get much feedback from that at all?
We have actually. I've obviously got loads of nieces and nephews. Nat doesn't have any yet, but they love watching it, and so they have a recording of it and like to watch it back. But we did actually get an outpouring of it, saying randomly, like actually from people I know or have known in the past, saying, just trying to get my kid off to sleep, and your ugly mug has just turned up on the screen, reading out a really creepy story. So that was quite funny, actually. I found it a bit cringe, but then it's really sweet, isn't it? And we're not trying to be adults, we're trying to be daft. So
I'm going to be honest, I haven't watched it yet, but now that I've got a son, and he's probably too young for it, but I might just flick it on because we watch all sorts of cartoons and stuff with him. It's nice to mix it up a bit. And I get some footage of him watching you two and get that on the pod.
Oh Christ! It was good though. We were one take wonders, weren't we? But
really, that's impressive.
Well, them being them, they want the money's worth. So they're like, we'll just have one more for the luck. I was like, we just nailed that. What are you on about? Anyway, it went well though, didn't it? It was good.
It did, yeah. It was fun.
What was it called? Do you remember? Find Your Happy.
You're happy. Did you choose it, or were you given that?
We had choice of 2, didn't we?
Well, we recorded 2. I don't know if they released both of them, but we did record the both of them. But they were nice stories that I guess we related to anyway. So they chose good. They chose well.
It'd have been good to do a creepy voice, wouldn't it? Hi, kids. Welcome to CBeebies Bedtime Stories.
I'm not sure that's what bedtime stories is for. It's supposed to send them to sleep rather than scare them.
Horror stories.
Never slept again, probably, with that.
In your best media voice then, Catherine, would you like to ask your wife some cricket-based questions?
Absolutely not. I was thinking about doing that one, but it's not appropriate. Obviously, you missed the first game of the T20 series against Pakistan, and the girls had an absolute shocker. And it could have been, well, they would have won with Nat in the game, wouldn't they? But luckily, our Amy, on her 100th cap, no less, saved the day with Heather in the middle. So, what were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, so I was doing my gym, in the first half of the game, and at Edgbaston, the gym is like right next to the change room, so you can see. And as I kept doing my exercises, the wickets kept falling, and I mean, I'm a pretty calm watcher, but Lindsay Smith, who was in the gym with me as well, she's a nervous watcher, and so she's like flittering around the gym, like not sure what to do with herself. So not the best of starts, but yeah, if we in that team, if you wanted 2 people to be out in the middle to rebuild an innings, you would pick Heather and Amy.
No, I literally said the same thing on comms. Like, everybody was obviously doing their job and saying this is, absolute shocker, horrific. There's no way back from this, blah. And I was like, it's okay. Don't worry. This is why our middle order has got about 25 years combined in that 5 and 6 position, 4, 5, 6 position. Like, this is for that reason. So don't say anything just yet. Give it 10 minutes. And then they did.
How many times are you 11 for 4 and then you get 160? Like,
not many.
Yeah, they actually batted really well, and Danny Gibson batted like, she obviously has a lot of power behind her. And yeah, luckily Heather and Amy did such a great job that she had a little platform to go in on and just enjoy herself, which was perfect.
Amy's been a woman for the crisis, hasn't she? So she did it a couple of times in New Zealand, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. I'm not sure what it is exactly, but she has like unlocked probably a little bit in herself that has allowed her to play freely, even though she's in a position where sometimes it's very difficult to play freely. But yeah, she's in great form.
Our drinks with her on, God, what night is it? Saturday night after the game, coming back here, what I was watching and what I'm used to seeing from Amy was different, and it was like mainly in her body language, because I know that technically when she's sound what that looks like, but it was more of a body language thing, and she spoke on it a little bit, and it was all about getting her head right, and being like, not mental well-being, but she's obviously had a tough time. Her mum died really suddenly at a young age, 50 odd, and hit really hard, and she took only a really tiny amount of time out. But things like that could either set you back for a long, long time or spur you on, and it spurred her on to tap into her mental side of it. And I think she said just picturing and imagining things in a positive way, and how she goes about doing stuff has really helped her in that way. So yeah, whatever she's doing, she needs to keep doing it because it's great. It's Amy 2.0.
She is great. It'd be great to get her on in the pod at some point this summer, Catherine. I'm sure we can use your contacts for that. Now, as you mentioned, Catherine, in our little intro about your wife.
And on comms.
And on comms. And last week, we teased some quite substantial news was going to come out. And obviously, it's been reported that, Nat, you missed the game due to a minor medical procedure, which obviously it's nobody else's business. But I believe there's something that you'd both like to discuss. And I'll start with Nat. I'm quite excited to hear this myself, but would you like to go into more detail with why you missed that game and what's going on between you two?
So in the period between getting back from New Zealand and this tour starting, I thought it's a great time for me to go through the egg freezing process. So creating embryos and whacking them in the freezer for future use.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, chucking them on ice. Just I guess because Catherine and myself would love to start a family. And yeah, I'd also like to continue playing cricket. So yeah, I guess thinking about the future with that. And yeah, just sort of not getting it out of the way, but getting it off the mind, I think.
Yeah, it's like you go through your whole career. Well, it's different now, obviously. The world's a completely different place, or at least it feels like it is, compared to 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So when I started, it never even entered my head, even 15 years in. I thought about it, but I didn't really. It was all just about playing cricket and concentrating on that. And to me, there wasn't really an option to stop playing cricket and do that. It just felt like I need to absolutely be done with cricket and retire before I can even think of that. And what if I'm 40 and it's too late? And it is a weird. It's always been like that for me, but I think for Nat and anybody from this point on can absolutely see that egg freezing is a great resource to tap into if you want to quit having those worries, because at the end of the day, there is a time frame on how fertile you can be, and there's no other way to like describe it. Obviously, in certain situations, if myself and Nat get checked out at this point, I would have like 7 eggs, you'd have 10, for instance, because of our 7-year age gap. So for me, it's a ticking clock fertility wise. So 38, I'm actually 40 in July next year, so that actually is terrifying. And I didn't see myself getting to such a long, such an age where I wouldn't have done it yet. So yeah, and with the age gap, it's difficult. So for me, it feels like I need to go now, but that's different for me. Nat is here now. She very much wants to go to the Olympics in 2028. So freezing them now and having some really good healthy eggs to come back to, rather than tapping into a 36-year-old eggs. Why not have younger ones? So yeah, it's a really good choice to make. It's a really great thing to be able to have the choice. That's for sure, because it's not cheap and it's very invasive. But if you can do it, then it's a it's a great thing to do, because it puts your mind at ease and it doesn't put you under pressure to have to stop. You can concentrate on doing the thing you love to the best of your ability. So I mean, if Nat was 24, she might want to have a child and come back and play. That would be an option then, but at 31, it's not really. It's like on the verge, isn't it? It's not really.
It's a really, really unique challenge, isn't it? Because being a mum is what a lot of women want to do. But when you're an elite sportswoman, which you two both are or were, and one of you happens to be the best on the planet, like, do you want to sacrifice that to then start a family? Or, this is the best way to obviously give yourself best of both worlds in a way, isn't it? It's really exciting. I'm really excited for you both because I'm a young dad, or not a young man, but I'm a recent dad, and it's changed my life, and it's amazing. It's hard, but it's absolutely unbelievable. So I know that you'll both be unbelievable parents yourselves. Have you discussed the logistics of it all to go forward, and have you mapped out stuff, or are you just at the stage at the minute where, Katherine, you sort of crack on and maybe Nat will do one in the future as well?
We're lucky that there's more options than one, I guess. So yeah, just working out the best way for us both to go about it. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to carry a baby, but when I finish playing cricket, and yeah, I think Katherine wants to carry a baby as well.
I mean, I'm not too overly excited about getting a huge belly, loads of stretch marks, pushing some enormous thing out of a, not an enormous thing, and so and all the things and pleasant things that come with that. But all my sisters have said, Katherine, all that goes out the window when they arrive, and it's like literally the best thing you've ever done, and you don't regret it for 1 second. So I have that journey to go through, and I have decided that is something I'll do, which is actually quite recent. Actually, it's this year we decided to do that. But like I said, my clock is ticking, so yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
And for the I'm getting really deep under the lid with it, with the terms of the donor from the other end. I know people that have been through it, what you're going to be going through. It's almost like you have a bit of a library to go through of checklist of what the donor does, doesn't it? In a way, you're like almost like what they look like, hair color, eye color, job title, earnings, like what size feet they are. Like, are you going for a toolkit bowler, Katherine, or?
I didn't vet this question. That this is a surprise. Yeah, it's a mixture of Jimmy Anderson and Jos Buttler.
Yeah, we're aiming for an elite sports person, basically. Yeah, we're building our own. I don't know if we really want them to, try and be a fast bowler, because that's a pretty tough job.
Yeah, no, they'll be an all-rounder for sure. That's the way. That's the way you win MVP as well, isn't it?
And how supportive have the ECB been, Nat, particularly now that you're obviously still playing? How good have they been?
Yeah, they've been really good. Like the sports science and medical department are all, yeah, really supportive and have helped me along the way. Made sure I'm all right, every week, and actually making sure coming back to cricket has been smooth. Because yeah, after the procedure, you're wiped out for quite a few days. So yeah, just making sure that everything's all right before coming back into cricket was really important. So it's probably why I missed that first game, because I mean I'd only just started back to exercise again, I guess. So yeah, wasn't quite ready back then.
I think it is quite a good opportunity actually to let a few domestic and international. This is really random podcast now, but just to let people how this thing goes, because like this information is not necessarily out there for you. So it's like it's roughly 2 weeks once you start the process. There's obviously consultations and stuff like that, counselling, making sure you're doing the right thing, making the right decisions, your head's in the right space. Obviously going through the catalogue's pretty interesting. That's great. But it's about 2 weeks, and it's roughly 2 injections a day, which I administered to Nat because the thought of stabbing herself was pretty feral. So that was great. And then your tummy gets a bit bigger, you get swollen, you get uncomfortable, your boobs are sore. I'm really getting the detail in now.
We're going under the lid here, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's not the most pleasant, but it's not horrific, and it's so like worth it. And then the procedure itself's under sedation. You're not out, but you're sedated. She had a few drugs, and it's like you go in the morning, you come out in the late afternoon, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, and you've got some embryos on ice. And they tell you over the next sort of 3 or 4 or 5 days, they watch them grow under microscope, literally hourly, and they let you know how many you've got, how many survived, and then how many they'll freeze. And it's like, let's just throw a number out there. You've produced 30, they might whittle down to 15, and then you might end up with only 3 or 5 that are viable. So that's the kind of process it is. And
mad, and it's intricate, but it's amazing what they can do. It's
But
fantastic. It's gonna be a hell of a journey for you.
Yeah,
You'll probably
because
forget a lot of all this when you're holding your baby as well.
yeah. So any girls out there that want to have like 10, 20-year careers in cricket, because there's now money there and it's a proper career option, this might become something that's tapped into quite a lot. So yeah, it's definitely recommend it, and for those purposes, really. So you can do the thing you love.
Oh, fantastic! And the fact that you've been on this journey, and you've played I'm not sure how long you two have been together, but you played together for a while as well. Like, how challenging was it working together and being together? Like, obviously, I don't see any guys with each other in cricket, so it's not the same. But you two obviously have been through that. How challenging was that? And was it also a double-edged sword? Was it really good in a way because you know what each other was going through? Or it must have been crazy at times to come home, especially when one of you's captain of the other one.
Well, the best days are when one of us had a good day and one's had a really day.
Yeah, those were pretty tough. But no, I mean, some couples like to have time away from each other, and then really appreciate it when you're together. But me and Catherine prefer to spend our time together, so actually it worked out quite well. And yeah, I mean, having your most important person there, and is experiencing the same things that you're going through, felt like you had the ultimate support, really, whilst we're away or whilst we're going through games or whatever it is. So I mean, I don't know how Catherine felt about it, but I loved it. I loved going away on tour with her and playing with her. I mean, it definitely beats playing against her because that's absolutely terrible, like awful.
That is a different kettle of fish. That's why we've not managed to get many stats on Year Nat, because they wanted to do a stat me v you situation, but we always chose to. I always made it so that me and Nat would have to be in the same team. And actually,
and you always get your way.
This is one for YouTube now. I'm in the trophy room, and
you're in the shrine, are you?
One of the worst things ever was when the only time we ever played against each other, apart from really early days county, was inter-squad stuff when we're getting together to prepare for a tour. So if like Ashes is coming up, we'd have something like 28 players, best players in the country, come together, form 2 teams, 2 14 girl teams, and this one time Lisa was horrible to us. She put me on one and Nat on the other, and stayed that way as like a tournament. And we had a T20 tournament and a one-day tournament, and at the beautiful Derby ground. While we were staying in the Premier Inn.
This was in lockdown. Well, yeah, we were like bubbled in.
And Natalie won this. This is probably one of my favourite trophies of all time. Natalie won this. This is the T20 one, so this one's hers. But I won the One Day Cup, and I'm like, it's like my proudest ever achievement because it was against Nat, and I had to like literally turn into a different animal to win. Because you know what, I think I got super competitive. I know for a fact deep down that you were trying your absolute hardest.
Didn't you ever get someone?
So mainly the umpires, because they were because there was about 5 LBW. I got Danny out LBW 3 times in a row and didn't give it. And I've got video evidence. I'll put that out there one time.
Video
let's not go down that wormhole.
Anyway, I did. But to answer your question, other than that, I absolutely adore spending time with Natalie. Like it's cringe, but I don't like spending 1 second away from it. It's horrible. So when she has to
Oh, that's cute, isn't it?
It's really
nice.
gross, isn't it? Just cue you
Really
Really
vomiting.
nice.
isn't it?
It's just
But
really nice.
honestly, 2 weeks away is horrific. So like, I much prefer when she goes to places that's reachable, not 24, 30 hours away. So
What about you, Nat? Are you gonna go along with that? Are you gonna tell the truth? Say actually, it's amazing because it's a lot quieter and I can get stuff done.
Well, Catherine can do the digging in peace. No, I. It's much better when we're together than when we're apart. I mean, she's not going to come to Bangladesh though if I get selected. Um, so yeah, we'll have to deal with that when it comes around.
that all depends on fertility journey, I guess, and that's why things are quite hard for me at the minute because I can't commit to anything or make decisions because I don't know what that really looks like, what it even feels like to be pregnant. My brother is preparing for me to be a hag, to just be a really horrible pregnant lady who moans and is sick.
You might be gleaming and you might be completely different. You don't know that, do you?
I hope I'm glowing and not vomiting and it's all, sunshine and rainbows, but
It would be great if Catherine was glowing because I think that might not happen.
you're going to be like, you can't come on tour this month because John said he really wants us to all focus on ourselves. Actually, you just had enough.
Fantastic.
Oh, gosh.
Going back to
Anyway.
those trophies just then, Nat. You've won 2 ICC World Player of the Year awards. You're obviously a recent best women's player on the planet. You've won a World Cup with England. Is there any particular one award that you really treasure, or are you just not that fussed for awards? Or
um, I, I act like I'm not fussed for awards, but I obviously do like them. I'm worried that that I'm not gonna have the motivation to try as hard because I've got the ICC Player of the Year.
In this room, if there was an Olympic medal in this room, she would not. She would definitely say she would sleep in it. Basically, that would be the one. And though that motivates you,
Yeah, it does. Now the I think probably the nicest one is the England Player of the Year because you get voted for by your teammates. So yeah, I think that one's really special.
in terms of
um,
where your career is in a minute and all these awards, do you still think you can get better?
Yeah, I think I can. Yeah, I think especially in probably the T20 format with the bat. I feel like I want to play innings like try and get, a big score off like 30 balls or something like that. But sometimes it's not always the situation for it. But just knowing when is the right time to go for a shot or, you know, timing it right and stuff like that. I feel like that's the sort of thing where I can still learn. Um, I, and I'd also like to play some sort of scoop like Joe Root.
Joe Root's little reverse off the seamers. That's naughty, isn't it? That would hit me square in the face.
Yeah, well, I have tried it. I have tried it, and it did hit me in the. I sort of came off the top edge of my bat. It hit me in the shoulder, and then I got out.
Oh yeah, I tell you, who's good at that. Maya Bouchier did that to Shabnim, fastest ball on the planet in the women's game, and she made it look easy. And I'm pretty sure it went for 6. It was nice.
Yeah, Shabnam was bowling fast that day.
Maya really, really liked herself after that one. There's a great video of her like talking about it. It's great. I love it.
I think she did sort of get forced into that a little bit.
She did, bless her. That was PR terror. Talking of getting better, do you think there's literally the time? Because I know the boys talk about this and they're trying to get this changed within the schedule, and we talk about it a lot. And not having really much time in the year to really knuckle down and have 1, 2, 3, 4 months at nailing your skills and rather than just jumping from one tournament to the next?
Yeah, I guess. Well, we've had to sort of adapt and try and learn while still in competition. Like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, you'd still have that 2 or 3 month block where you could work on your fitness, work on your strength, work on your skills, and then like do the learning then, and then just go into the performing part. But yeah, it's not like that anymore, is it? So actually being able to adapt and take on feedback from coaches or trying to learn a new skill whilst in a tournament or in a series is being way more important because otherwise, like you say, you don't get the time unless you take a break.
You've already taken a break before for your own mental well-being as well, and it's Mental Health Awareness Week this week as well. So I think if we just touch on that briefly, how important to you was that break, and how accepting and supportive is the game of people doing that? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, anyone who has been brave enough to come out and say they've been struggling and they've had to take a break has always been supported by anyone in cricket. I mean, even on like social media and stuff, you get messages of support and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the biggest decision was actually allowing myself to leave the England environment. Because yeah, such a big part of it is not wanting to let your teammates down. And at that point, Heather was injured, so I was captaining. And yeah, so I mean that, and then the added responsibility of that was just so hard for me to be able to reach that decision.
And turning things down is not like something. Well, you're not a fan of that, I know, and I never used to be either. Like playing through injury and stuff like that is always difficult, but just feels like the thing to do. It's hard to stop yourself. You always kind of need to rely on your loved ones to see what they should be seeing, and almost not take the decision out of your hands, but push you in the direction that's the best option for you. And ultimately, you have to make that decision. And I remember talking about it quite heavily with you and wanting you not to leave the house, not for selfish reasons, but for the fact that I could see you weren't okay. So yeah, but you had to make that decision yourself. So I think also on making good decisions and turning things down, like back to the franchise stuff. We've spoke about this as a pair, and then ultimately as a family. You're in your 30s, and there'll be a time where you retire, like I have, and you want to make the best of all your opportunities. And the opportunities now have literally just changed. So the very next, actually, there's been one WBBL, but they're now from this year handing out 3-year contracts at a lot of money, and nearly all, in fact, all the England girls probably turning it down, so that they can play in this World Cup in Bangladesh and represent England in the Ashes and be fresh for that. So, yeah, would you prefer a world where you don't say no to the big three, which is, you know, the WPL, the 100, and the WBBL? Like, it's not really something that you should have to do, is it?
No, and yeah, I mean, it would be brilliant if there were windows for each of these tournaments, which there sort of is, but now more so now there always seems to be a bit of an overlap. Like obviously, in the WPL just gone, we had to make a decision as to whether we wanted to stay in the WPL, which actually meant whether you play in India or not, because the teams didn't want someone for half the tournament. But yeah, decide whether you wanted to be part of that or you wanted to take part in the first 3 T20 matches in New Zealand against for England. Sorry. And yeah, I mean at the time they were like, oh yeah, this will be a one-off. But I've heard that the WBBL will be clashing with the tour to South Africa that we have in December. So I mean, it's gonna become more and more common, I think.
Yeah, but it needs to be looked at, doesn't it, really well? Because there's three major tournaments that are lucrative and for people to make the most of while they can. and they are spaced nicely, like February/March, and then August, and then at the end of the year, November, whatever. They're nicely spaced. There should be enough in the schedule there to allow for World Cups and international tournaments. So, yeah, someone needs to sort it out.
I mean, in the same way that we want people to come and play in the 100, like the best players to come and play in the 100, they'll want the best players from England to come and play in the other tournaments. So, yeah, I mean, it would be great if there was space, and obviously everyone has a choice ultimately of whether they want to go or not. It's just whether, you know, being able to play cricket all year round and not have that space is right for them. Which when I was younger, it would have been absolutely fine. But yeah, now I've got more at home, more responsibilities, more of a family.
We're all grown up.
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's the
Adulting.
future. That's definitely the future. So in terms of the present, you're going to be back with the England team tomorrow, I believe. What does your return to play look like? When are you next going to play? And when you back bowling? What's we want to go under the lid here and get all the right answers.
Yeah, well, we had a red ball practice today actually. So with the England team, it rained though, so it sort of changed from scenarios to just sort of more of a net session. But I bowled for the first time off a full run, although not quite at full intensity. So the bowling's probably going to take a bit longer than everything else. Yeah, I'm hoping to be feeling all right to be playing on Friday and Sunday. But yeah, it was just that first game was probably a little bit too soon. Yeah, and I mean, ever since obviously I was going through the egg freezing process, but even watching the girls play domestic cricket, I was a bit like, oh, I'd like to get out there. That'd be good. Like it's like the English summer. I mean, we've probably only had about 3 days of it so far, but yeah, it's a great time to play cricket. I love playing at home and the international series that we get. I mean, there was 19,000 people there at Edgbaston watching us play against Pakistan. That's really good.
Yeah, it was an exciting day. You could tell everybody was in their pants.
Well, both power players probably showed you that. Yeah, but
That's
I mean,
exciting.
they said before we started the series, we'd sold more tickets than we had done before the Ashes at the same time. So, like with the Ashes summer, we've sold more tickets than that. So yeah, it's a great time to be playing women's cricket and be part of it.
Yeah, are you dying to pick up a bat and score one of these hundreds that everyone keeps bagging? There's a lot of hundreds going about. It's giving me a headache, making me think now is a good time to start bowling. As is in the IPL with the men, it's absolutely insane. I would not want to be bowling in the graveyard. That's for sure.
No, but it's the game's changing. But I guess if you are successful, you're worth more money, aren't you, as a bowler? So as it's ups and
That's
downs.
it. Even if you're just going at tens, you'd be picked up.
That's a good
Well,
thing.
yeah. If you bowl at the front and at the end, then you take 10.
Facts. Talking of facts, and with the last round quiz, our quiz that I'll tell you all about now, obviously. And as you follow this podcast, because I force you to, should we have a little warm up? So let's have a warm up, and we'll go straight to the Cricket Archive. And as you know, I've not come up with this, but I did tease earlier. I did tease earlier that this would have.
Oh, there it is.
Inception with the siren. I wanted to tee that up. So the stat. Jack, reveal the stat.
Okay, so Nat, you have taken 15 catches off of Catherine's bowling. But has Katherine taken more than 15 or less than 15 off of your bowling? Where does she normally field when you were bowling? Is she at mid-on talking to you, or are you putting her down at fine leg to get away from you?
I have been at mid-on talking to her once when I passed her the ball back. She weren't looking and it smacked her straight on the forehead. That was on telly.
Right here, actually. Has she taken more catches or less catches?
Quick answer would be
I
good.
think that she has taken less catches than 15 off my bowling.
Well, you would be correct. She has taken 7. 1 in the Test
Obviously.
match, 3 in ODIs, and 3 in international T20s. And I bet you remember them all as well, don't you?
That's actually not that many, is it?
No, but obviously I had you in gully or second, so naturally you should be, catching. And you've probably put the similar amount down. I think there's been roughly 15 drops as well. So
That is not true. And I thought that was going to be the stat. How many catches have you dropped off, Catherine?
that would have been much better.
Oh, I didn't want to go down that. I do not want any aggro on this pod. All right, this is no arguing on this pod. I'll just briefly mention the PCA MVP update before we go into the big question and Bunty's favourite Naff Quiz. The PCA MVP powered by Argentex. Kirsty Gordon is leading the way, and Sophia Dunkley is second, who was our guest last week. And the day after recording the pod last week, Dunks went and got the highest amount of MVP points from anybody all summer. So she's going to take some stopping if she plays a lot of domestic cricket this summer, which she's obviously out of the England team in a minute. It also means guests on this show end up killing it in the game. So obviously you're going to go on to great things, Nat, off the back of this.
It's like sprinkling a bit of cricket gold dust on you every time you come on. And Kirsty will be absolutely buzzing about that, won't she? Because she's got a nosebleed at the minute. They've had to push her right up the order because she's got that sort of like old school opening feel about her. And they obviously lost Nat and Tammy and an overseas opener, so she's really, really loving that role. Being pushed back down the order now, which she's gutted about, but I can just imagine how happy she would be about this.
She was at last year she was maybe like 9, 10, 11, but now she's like 7. So I think she's still pretty happy. And at the Blaze, unfortunately, we haven't batted that well so far this season, so she is getting a good hit.
She has got a mind. She's got a mind of steel. She's like Tammy when she wants to score runs. There's no one stopping her. In the boys, Rob Yates is still at the top of the men's table. But another of our Under the Lid alumni, Sam Cook, my fave, is chasing him down. And he's in 3rd spot, I believe. So it's all to play for, isn't it?
Moving on to our big question. Now, we want to get behind life as a professional cricketer. It isn't all about cricket, obviously, from what we've been talking about on the episode. And we are going to ask you a piece of information that most people, I won't say nobody because I'd imagine that Catherine knows a lot about you. A piece of information that most people do not know about you that is ideally not cricket related. Is there anything you can give us that Catherine already hasn't told us?
Yeah, well, she's spilt the beans on quite a bit, hasn't she? She's told everyone that I can sing, which is a terrible thing to say because when
you can say no, Natalie. Everything is a choice.
No. Oh, Natalie, full name.
That was a full name. Well, obviously you've already said that I was born in Japan, which used to be my thing that no one knew about me, but unfortunately I've been playing cricket for England for like almost 11 years, so it's not very new anymore. So I did some thinking, and so this one time, right, when I was living in
one time at Bandcamp.
At Bandcamp, you have a trumpet.
Well, yeah, I did play the trumpet, but that wasn't the point. No, when I was living in Poland, we went on a ski trip in Poland because it's cold. In winter, it's like gets to like -20 for a month. Anyway, there's snow around, and we went on this trip, and I don't really know if it was like specifically for this competition, but there was like a ski and snowboard slalom comp going on, and we all were taking part in it. Anyway, I managed to come second in the snowboard slalom.
Oh, you are a multi-sport, talented sports woman, aren't you?
Yeah, she's well annoying, and she's keeping it quiet, but she can actually play. She can sing, play guitar, drums, trumpet. She's properly good at snowboarding and skiing, but that's actually the sad bit about cricket, isn't it? That's not something you can do. It's something I'm picking up, and I've got the bug now. Yes, rather expensive, hobby, but it's worth it in it because it's just lush. So yeah, I think we'll accept that. We'll accept that because I actually didn't know that.
That's awesome.
So
Thank you very much, Natalie.
that is under the list. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on. Right, we are now on to my
Catherine's
favourite
favourite
part.
round.
It is. I'm not going to put it down anymore because it's my favourite bit now because it goes real quick. So now we're going to put a score on the board, and there it is on cue. And you're going to get 1 run for every correct answer. I think our leaderboard goes Ollie first and Charlie Dean second. I'm not even going to mention the rest because once you get below second, you don't really deserve a mention. So
How many runs do I need to be second?
8 is top at the minute.
8 is top, yes. And we are currently talking to the producers about a prize because we still haven't come up with some. But this is because, guys, we have to talk to our commercial partners to come up with something fantastic. It could be golf related. So Nat, if you wouldn't mind doing well, I would like to partake in said prize. Right, are we ready? Welcome to the last round. I need a timer. 60 seconds. Ready? Go.
Where do England play their 3rd and final T20 against Pakistan on the 19th of May?
Headingley.
We have the same best bowling figures in T20s. What are they? Surely you know mine.
15.
Yes.
Yes, correct. Against which country did you dismiss a batter hit wicket in 2022?
Which country?
South Africa.
How many balls did it take you to hit England's fastest ever ODI? 100. Hurry up.
7.
Oh, no.
Nearly. What is Amy Jones' shirt number for England?
40.
Who sponsors the T20 internationals?
Vitality.
Yes.
Which batter did Katherine get out for a pair in the 2022 Ashes?
Alyssa Healy.
What is the Polish word for football? Next one. You can say pass. Nat, you've let us down. I can't.
You didn't tell me I could pass. What is the Polish word for football?
I'm not being funny, but I haven't got time for a full explanation of all of the rules. You'll have to see our hashtag under the lid rule book, page 625 for that bit. But all I've got to say is you've really let us down there. 5 is not a thing. I thought you were better than that.
5 would get you in about mid-table.
Fine.
You've joined with dunks.
Perfect. Sorry, what's the Polish word for football?
Oh, Pilkarski is one of them. There's 2 different answers. You could have given us either Pilkanonza or Pilkarski.
Great accent.
We now have to say goodbye, Ski. And honestly, it's been amazing having you on, Nat, for such a special reveal. I know you're always in the background and keeping Katherine ticking over technically for this show. But no, it's been amazing to speak to you. And
can I have a berry tea, please?
Catch up with you in the summer. Yeah, and go and get Catherine's dinner on.
Yeah, well, luckily we've already had dinner. But yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you and good night.
Take care, goodbye.
Thank you and good night.
What a day.
She's a good egg, isn't she? Who you married? She's lovely.
Is she all right? Have I done well? I thought I'd done well.
You've done very... You're punching,
I've done very well.
Done...
Am I? That's absolutely horrific. I thought I was great.
How relieved are you now that you can talk about your fertility journey? You haven't got to keep it a secret.
Yeah, it is handy. Like it is. I don't really like. If you know me, everybody knows I'm quite honest. Don't see the point in pussyfooting around information, or heart on a sleeve. But also, like, some of these things are really important to talk about, and I can't just stay, like, I stayed quiet about a lot of things a lot of my life, and I think that's why everything's coming out of me like lava now, that I have this platform to help and aid others. So why would I not do that? I wish that had been the same way for me when I was growing up. So yes.
No, you're 100%.
So
This will strike a tone, I think, with a few listeners. You'd like to think it'd be great to get some feedback as well, either privately or directly to us with our hashtag and email address. We've got some listener feedback as well, which is great. First of all, from Arshia. She wants to ask us our view on the current batting carnage that's happening in the IPL, which we've briefly just covered. But as former fast bowlers, what do you think of the pitches, and what does this mean for bowlers in the long run and for the larger game of cricket? Well, it is carnage, and I'd arguably want to watch boundaries in 2020 cricket, but I quite like the lower scoring games when there's a bit more skill involved for the batters.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think it just makes bowlers think more and try and get better as well. But you're on a high doing to nothing. You can bowl well and get dealt with. You can bowl crap and get wickets. It's just a bit inconsistent at times, isn't it? But
I mean, I'd
particularly enjoy watching the ball get whacked everywhere. I get a stiff neck from watching the ball getting hit everywhere.
We do all love watching the ball fly to all parts. Like, it is exciting watching 36ers per game, but we also like nail biters and the bowlers not having to rock up with loads of anxiety every game. So we like it. It's good. It's good for the game, but I'd like to see 200 as a ceiling, not 260. That'd be nice. Anyway, we've got another one.
We've got 300 going to be on the cards, isn't it?
It is. Georgia Hurst. Hello, legends. This is a long one. I've just got back to playing cricket after a decade off, and I'm making slow progress. Well, that won't be me, Georgia, so well done to you for coming back after so long. I've got a question that I can't ask anyone yet because I'm just in the nets with teenagers so far. As I'm reaching for a place in the women's second team, I've not invested massively in kit because it's so expensive and had to know what to get for my level. My aunt gave me an old bat of my uncle's and I've already cracked it slightly at the bottom. Oh, nightmare. I used to cry when I used to crack my bats. Is this going to be a major issue for a cricketer at my level? First question, actually. No, not really, because sometimes, surface cracks are a good thing. And I wouldn't worry about it too much. Should I just ignore it and get on with it? Yes. If I get a new bat, how much should I spend and what type should I get? Shall we just touch on this, Jack? Like, you can spend up to £600 on a bat at the minute, can't you? It's absolutely insane.
It's ridiculous how expensive cricket bats are. So I'd definitely use this one as much. But it depends how old it is. Like, how old's your uncle and how long has he had the bat? Like, is it Conker?
Do you know what? I bet it's a belter. Massive thanks to the Sciver-Brunts for all they have done in showcasing exciting, wholehearted cricket and also sharing their love story, which in turn got my sister into women's cricket, so I have someone to go to games with now. I love that she goes to cricket with you because there's nothing better than going with a mate, having a few beers, watching a sport you love and doing that. And do you know what, Georgia? Get in touch, send in your address, your home address, and I will post you one of my bats.
By the way, don't expect a free cricket bat from all of your letters and your hashtags as much as we like giving away to our thousands of adoring fans. We haven't got enough cricket bats for everyone. I did actually give away one of my bats recently to a club teammate who used it in the nets. After about 4 balls, it broke, so that was great. Anyway, that's about all from us this week. It's been an amazing episode. Really, really, really exciting. And very brave from the pair of you. So thanks, Katherine. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks for getting under the lid with us. Please, as always, subscribe, review, tell your friends. Email us at hello@underthelid.co.uk or #underthelid. We'll see you next week with another special guest, maybe a men's player.
Yes, fantastic. Have a great week, everyone. All the best.
Goodbye.